Rocket racing is a weird oddity in the racing game genre. Released in December of 2023, it's a free-to-play game mode in Fortnite that took Rocket League's style of gameplay and converted it into a racing game. Yet what was a rather hyped project is now barely talked about in the racing game and Rocket League communities. What caused a promising Fortnite game mode to be essentially tossed aside by the people who wanted it the most? This is what went wrong with Rocket Racing. In October of 2023, Psyonix announced that item trading in Rocket League would be removed on December 5th. The reasoning given behind this decision was that we're making this change to align with Epic's overall approach to game cosmetics and item shop policies, where items aren't tradable, transferable, or sellable. This opens up future plans for some Rocket League vehicles to come to other Epic games over time, supporting cross-game ownership. Just a couple of days after trading was removed, Rocket Racing would be announced. Many assumed that Rocket Racing was the main cause of trading being disabled, since some items from Rocket League would transfer over to the new game mode. However, a comment on another video talking about Rocket Racing's failures refuted this statement. According to a developer, Epic was forced to pay a fine to the Dutch government as trading inside of Rocket League broke the laws, and thus the removal of trading was done as more of a defensive measure against future fines. Rocket Racing played no part in the removal of trading, and the timing was purely coincidental. Whatever the case may be, this controversy put a nasty stain on Rocket Racing. It alienated a lot of Rocket League fans from playing or supporting the mode. Having Rocket Racing bundled in Fortnite sounded great in theory. There are many people who play Fortnite, so making Rocket Racing a part of that is an easy way to get people to try it out. Plus, they could entice players from Rocket League and racing game fans to download Fortnite to try the mode out. Initially, this approach worked, as over 600,000 people were playing it at its peak. Obviously, a dip in player numbers in the following months is to be expected, but now the mode sits below 10,000 players 8 months after launch. Compared to the other modes in Fortnite, Rocket Racing isn't doing that well. So what happened? Well, it's rather simple. It made no sense to add a racing game to essentially a third-person shooter. It feels really disconnected for the rest of Fortnite's content. Imagine if Forza Horizon 5 added in one game mode that completely changed the gameplay into a third-person shooter. You might get some people who like the genre interested, but those players aren't there for that experience. Epic Games completely missed their target audience of racing game players and the Rocket League community by doing this. Unless these people already play Fortnite, many aren't going to go out of their way to download the entirety of Fortnite just for Rocket Racing. Also, being a free game mode in Fortnite instead of a separate game means it's rather limited in scope. There's only racing and time trial events. As I will cover later on, there are no vehicle classes and all the vehicles have the same stats. The only notable progression is by playing ranked mode. As you get more complex tracks, the further you level up. Rocket Racing would have been more popular if it was included in Rocket League or been its own separate game entirely. Forcing it to be in Fortnite limited its features and meant the actual target audience for the game just doesn't care for it. Plus, as I will cover next, the drop in players could also be due to the game mode's bugginess. The comment that I showed earlier also mentioned something interesting about the game mode's development. A dev stated that the team for Rocket Racing currently is around 10 people and was even smaller pre-launch, forcing us to work 7 days a week in the month lead up to launch. You can imagine that a very small team having to do a crunch like this would negatively affect Rocket Racing, and it certainly did. Especially at launch, there were a lot of problems. The finish line not registering properly at the end of a race, dying from absolutely nothing, extremely glitchy collisions, and more. Heck, the vehicle's wheels didn't even turn at that time. While many issues have been fixed, the mode still doesn't feel refined enough. There can be really weird interactions when hitting players or objects. When air dodging to surfaces, you snap to them very violently, which can also cause weird physics moments. The sense of speed is terrible when not boosting, with a speedometer that clearly doesn't show an accurate speed reading. The controls invert when driving upside down, which to me feels clunkier than just flipping the camera. On the Alpine track, you can skip part of the course by rocket jumping up and going through the checkpoint the wrong way. Rocket Racing not only left a bad impression with a buggy launch, but the game is still unpolished many months after release. Like Rocket League, vehicles in Rocket Racing are only cosmetic. This means that no matter what car body you pick, it's always the same top speed, acceleration, braking, and handling. While this is great for the competitive aspect, this means that there's no traditional racing game progression of going from slower cars to faster ones. It's also possible that you won't even have a big selection of car bodies to choose from. Either you have to buy the cosmetics or use the ones you have from Rocket League that transferred over. This seems great, but many of them haven't been added to Rocket Racing yet. Out of the 26 car bodies I have in Rocket League, only 5 of them are in Rocket Racing. Racing games essentially live and die by their car lists, so having hardly any vehicles available to me after 8 months post-launch is absurd. There are so many great designs from Rocket League that it's a waste they aren't being properly utilized. Especially with how much money the vehicle cosmetics can cost, it's just disappointing. Additionally, there is no visual damage, not even dents or scratches. Rocket Racing fumbled its vehicles by treating them like cosmetics and not transferring enough over from Rocket League. Rocket Racing is rather frustrating, as the trading controversy, forcing it in Fortnite, having an unpolished experience, and disappointing vehicles killed its chances for many players. It's a damn shame too, as there can be a fun game here when everything goes right. Yet as the mode stands now, it feels like a one-off gimmick to Fortnite's main offerings. This has been Gamer Alex. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.